Absolutely free. Absolutely free. Absolutely free. Accidentally deleted. Accidentally deleted. Accidentally deleted. Actively look for. Actively seek. Actively look for. Actively seek. Actively look for. Actively seek. Adequately packaged. Adequately packaged. Adequately packaged. Aggressively searching for. Aggressively searching for. Aggressively searching for. Alternatively choose. Alternatively choose. Alternatively choose. Unanimously decide. Unanimously decide. Unanimously decide. Appropriately handle. Appropriately handle. Appropriately handle. Argue persuasively. Argue convincingly. Argue persuasively. Argue convincingly. Argue persuasively. Argue convincingly. Assemble it effortlessly. Assemble it easily. Assemble it effortlessly. Assemble it easily. Assemble it effortlessly. Assemble it easily. Begin promptly. Start precisely. Begin promptly. Start precisely. Begin promptly. Start precisely. Collectively decide. Collectively decide. Collectively decide. Completely different. Totally different. Completely different. Totally different. Completely different. Totally different. Completely free of charge. Totally free of charge. Completely free of charge. Totally free of charge. Completely free of charge. Totally free of charge. Concisely compile. Concisely compile. Concisely compile. Cordially invite. Cordially invite. Cordially invite. Currently under construction. Currently under construction. Currently under construction. Deeply divided. Deeply divided. Deeply divided. Deeply impressed. Deeply impressed. Deeply impressed. Densely populated. Densely populated. Densely populated. Distinctly different. Distinctly different. Distinctly different. Dramatically rise. Dramatically rise. Dramatically rise. Due in part to. Due in part to. Due in part to. Due largely to. Due mostly to. Due largely to. Due mostly to. Due largely to. Due mostly to. Eagerly await. Eagerly await. Eagerly await. entirely alone, entirely alone, entirely alone, eventually complete, eventually complete, eventually complete, exclusively provide, exclusively provide, exclusively provide, extensively renovated, extensively renovated, extensively renovated, fairly decided, fairly decided, fairly decided, finely crafted, finely crafted, finely crafted, finally agree, finally agree, finally agree, firmly decided, firmly decided, firmly decided, grow steadily, grow steadily, grow steadily, hardly work, hardly work, hardly work, heavily discounted, heavily discounted, heavily discounted, highly acclaimed, highly acclaimed, highly acclaimed, highly distinguished, highly regarded, highly distinguished, highly regarded, highly distinguished, highly regarded, immediately after, right after, soon after, shortly after, immediately after, right after, soon after, shortly after, immediately after, right after, soon after, shortly after, internally recruit, internally recruit, internally recruit, knowingly avoid, deliberately avoid, knowingly avoid, deliberately avoid, knowingly avoid, deliberately avoid, listen intently, listen carefully, listen intently, listen carefully, listen intently, listen carefully, marginally rise, marginally rise, marginally rise, markedly rise, markedly rise, markedly rise, minimally affected, minimally affected, minimally affected, mutually beneficial, mutually beneficial, mutually beneficial, nearly 30 books, nearly 30 books, nearly 30 books, noticeably rise, noticeably rise, noticeably rise, solely responsible for, solely responsible for, solely responsible for, occasionally visit, occasionally visit, occasionally visit, occur concurrently, occur concurrently, Occur concurrently. Originally predicted. Originally predicted. Originally predicted. Personally choose. Personally choose. Personally choose. Personally greet. Personally greet. Personally greet. Function properly. Function properly. Function properly. Grow rapidly. Grow rapidly. Grow rapidly. Periodically test. Periodically test. Periodically test. Potentially hazardous. Potentially hazardous. Potentially hazardous. Presently under construction. Presently under construction. Presently under construction. Randomly select. Randomly select. Randomly select. Rarely work. Rarely work. Rarely work. Recently purchased. Recently purchased. Recently purchased. Regrettably decline. Regrettably decline. Regrettably decline. Respectfully decline. Respectfully decline. Respectfully decline. Roughly 30 books. Roughly 30 books. Roughly 30 books. Severely damaged. Severely damaged. Severely damaged. Sharply rise. Sharply rise. Sharply rise. Significantly decline. Significantly decline. Significantly decline. Simultaneously happen. Simultaneously happen. Simultaneously happen. Slightly increase. Slightly increase. Slightly increase. Solely responsible for. Solely responsible for. Solely responsible for. Speak clearly. Speak clearly. Speak clearly. Speak convincingly. Speak eloquently. Speak convincingly. Speak eloquently. Speak convincingly. Speak eloquently. Speak favorably. Speak favorably. Speak favorably. Speak highly. Speak highly. Speak highly. Sparsely populated. Sparsely populated. Sparsely populated. Strategically launch. Strategically launch. Strategically launch. Strongly recommend. Strongly recommend. Strongly recommend. Tentatively agree. Tentatively agree. Tentatively agree. Temporarily suspended. temporarily suspended, temporarily suspended, provisionally postpone, provisionally postpone, provisionally postpone, thoroughly reviewed, thoroughly reviewed, thoroughly reviewed, tirelessly try, tirelessly try, tirelessly try, universally recognized, universally recognized, universally recognized, accurately calculate, accurately calculate, accurately calculate, directly deliver, directly deliver, directly deliver, much more, far more, even more, way more, much more, far more, even more, way more, much more, far more, even more, way more, efficiently work, efficiently work, efficiently work, especially designed, especially designed, especially designed, evenly apply, evenly apply, evenly apply, evenly divide, evenly divide, evenly divide, extremely expensive, extremely expensive, extremely expensive, expressly state, expressly state, expressly state, partially complete, partially complete, partially complete, fairly expensive, pretty expensive, quite expensive, fairly expensive, pretty expensive, quite expensive, fairly expensive, pretty expensive, quite expensive, speak fluently, speak fluently, speak fluently, formerly in charge of, formerly in charge of, formerly in charge of, generously contribute, generously contribute, generously contribute, locally grown, locally grown, locally grown, reluctantly accept, reluctantly accept, reluctantly accept,